Hi, we're going to look for mode 1. Mode 1
is going to look for any type of communication errors. This was kind of a throwback to the old multiplex system before there was BCAN. This continued to be used on BCAN vehicles, and we'll go ahead and show you this on an older vehicle. Now, the tool that was used by Honda was just the connector. Now, what I have here is something that a previous coworker of mine came up with, make life a little bit simpler. Thanks, Rex. You'll see how I use it when we get over to the car.
This little connector is going to plug into this socket right here. This is the under dash fuse block and the MICU. So we're going to plug him right into that. Without this lovely modification that Rex made for me, I would have to be under the dash, have this key turned on, plug this thing in, unplug it, and do all of that. So I'd have to go through some contortions trying to get this to work. But the nice thing with this switch is I can sit nice and comfy in the seat and do this all from the seat without having to bend under here and plug it in and unplug it again. So we'll see how this works. Part of the check is to check a couple of the fuses. Now, we want to make sure that these lights are working. In this case, it's going to be the map lights. In some cases, it'd be the dome light or the courtesy light. Some of the older vehicles, it was actually the light on the light for the ignition switch. If I remember right, some of the older CRVs had that. Well, this one, we're going to be using that light right there. So what we do, we'll turn the key to on, and then we're going to go ahead and basically you would plug that connector in, and you would watch your lights here to flash. Now they would flash a code. I think there was like 1 through 5, depending on what you had. Showed which one of the modules the MICU wasn't able to communicate with, and based on the number you would go in and do certain checks. In some cases it was simply checking maybe some relay inputs. It might have been checking some inputs to your multifunction switch. Maybe it was your door modules. You know, just depended on what car you had and how loaded it was. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the key to on. This one has a problem. I cannot turn that blower motor off, so that's the way it's gonna be. All right, so we'll go ahead and I'll turn the switch on, which will simulate me plugging this thing into that box. All right, there we go. We had the one flash. Basically, that is our letting us know we had the one in there, letting us know that we are in mode 1. Now, it is not flashing any kind of codes as far as communication goes. Now, this vehicle, though, is also letting us know that we have some type of codes with our modules. So, not communication codes, but actual codes with some of our modules. And this is kind of nice. The older cars, well, didn't do that. We didn't have BCAN on some of the older cars, so we didn't have these kinds of codes. This is kind of nice that we have that. Now, we got the B1056. We can look that up, see what it is, and then the 11. The 11 is telling us what module the code is from. I'm going to push the reset button. That'll move us on to the next code. There's 1060. Same module. 1061, same module. B1100, new module. 1177, new module. 1241, new module. 1235, it's that same module there, and that's the end of it. Okay. So this is kind of handy. So if you don't have a scan tool around, you can at least get in there and take a look, see if there's a problem with your BCAN as far as communication goes. And if there's no communication error, you can pull up your BCAN codes, which is kind of nice. Now, this isn't working for FCAN, but it's at least showing you if you have BCAN problems. Now, this will show you on some vehicles if you have FCAN communication problems. Not necessarily showing you FCAN codes, but it'll show you whether you've got FCAN communication problems as well as BCAN communication problems. And with most cars, well, with many cars, it'll show you the BCAN error DTCs if there is no BCAN communication errors. And the next thing we can do, we can go in and take a look at mode 2. Now for mode 2, what I would have to do is bend down under there. I'd have to pull that connector out, wait for anywhere from 7 to 10 seconds, plug it back in again, take a look at my map lights there, see if the thing flashed twice, and then I should be able to check the inputs to those 4 or 5 modules on this particular vehicle. Every time I move the switch input, the light should come on. So we'll go ahead and do that. I will turn this switch off, simulating pulling it out. Count to about 7 or 8. There we go. All right, there's mode 2. Now, this is not normal. Something a little bit strange is going on with this, so I would have to do a little digging to see what's going on there. Normally, what should happen, the light would be out, and I would go ahead and, well, let's see if I hit my brake pedal. It did have an effect on there, depending on what all was tied in. I move a switch. There we go. I hit, in this case, the window switch, and you see it did affect the blinking there. Yeah. So my inputs are affecting that, but I have no idea what is causing those to blink on and on, so I would have to do some diagnosing on that. And to turn everything off, we'll just turn the key off, and that gets us out of the diagnostic mode. Okay, that's it for mode 1, and this mode 1, mode 2 were actually carried on to newer vehicles. Only you did not use that little connector down at the MICU or the under-dash fuse block. You actually danced with the multifunction switch. So I'll show you that on the newer vehicle.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to show you how to go into mode 1 with this 2015 Honda Fit. Even though you can use a scan tool to get in and see everything you need to, if somebody else has a scan tool, you can still get in and see if you have any kind of communication errors. And you can also see if you have any kind of BCAN DTCs from the dash on this one. But to enter mode 1 without a scan tool, you kind of have to dance with the multifunction switch here a little bit. So the procedure: turn the ignition on, so key on, engine off. Then you're going to pull the stalk back. You're going to turn it onto the parking lights, release it. You're going to pull it back off, turn the parking lights on. Turn them on, off again, release them. Then you're going to look to see if the driving lights or the map lights here should flicker. Once they do that, then you'll take a look at the dash, see if there's any kind of communication errors with BCAN. Also take a look to see if there's any kind of DTCs. Key on, pull the stalk back, parking lights on, release it. Pull the stalk back, turn them off, on, off, release it. Lights blinked. I have a no on the dash, so no communication errors with BCAN, and there are no DTCs at this time. Okay, pull it back, park, release, pull it back. All right, lights flashed twice. Now I'm in mode 2. Now I can look for different inputs. So, clutch switch, brake switch. Okay, so some of these switches are BCAN here. Rear defogger. get the idea.